Hello and welcome back to Rev Endurance Sports, and this is video number 3 in the series of BREST PARIS, PBP, What I Learned. Now, for those who have not been following this channel or this series, BREST PARIS is a 1,200 kilometer, 750 mile event, about 12,000 meters or about 40,000 feet of climbing. Unsupported event, and it is the oldest bike race in the world, but please don't go there to race it. Please go there to ride it and enjoy it for its uniqueness in Audix style riding, brevet riding, and long distance type endurance riding. Okay, so if you want to know more about BREST PARIS, make a comment down below. Anyway, let's get on with the topic of today. Now, I don't want to take full credit for this idea because the idea came from Eric Norris, who is a cyclist who's done BREST PARIS, was not at the event this year because he provided a bag drop service with 3 or 4 other folks. But I watched some of his videos before heading out, and they're very useful. So Eric Norris, you should be able to find him. And if not, I can put a link down below for this video that gave me the idea. So credit to Eric, and then let me talk about what he talked about and add my personal experience to it. All right, so the topic is 5 different ways to get food/water during the event. Now, this was a concern for me from the events that I do. So let's just say when I do my endurance racing, I usually have a crew vehicle behind me, and in most of these races you have to have a crew vehicle. That you're not allowed to even go on the race course without a crew vehicle. So it's not nice to have, it's a must-have. Now, some races have moved over to a little bit of a rando format, like the Hoodoo 500. So it's a 500 miler that has a Voyager division, and that's basically you send your bags up forward, get your stuff, and keep going without a crew vehicle behind you. Generally, I don't like to ride at night without a crew vehicle behind me in the US. I didn't have any problems at all, any fear at all riding PBP at night. I just felt completely in this bubble of, hey, we're riding our bikes, we're riding 2 or 3 abreast in the middle of the night, and not many cars. And the cars that came, just respected us and went around. I think there was only about 1 or 2 close calls that I can think of. But here in the States, I don't like to do overnight events without a crew vehicle behind me, just for safety reasons, for me to be safe. So, but let's talk about the 5 ways to get food. And the first one is the controls. Now, you have to go to these controls anyway. Some are secret controls, some are controls that are just part of the course, and they're usually spaced out 80 to 90K apart, so that's 50 to 60 miles apart, depending on how loaded your bike is, which is another point to talk about. Depending on how loaded your bike is, that can take you anywhere from 3 to 4 hours. So if you're a fairly fast cyclist, 3 hours to do 60 miles, 20 mile per hour average speed, but let's just say 4 hours would put most of us in that range to get 50 miles or 60 miles in. So about 15 miles per hour on the 4-hour pace. So that's 4 hours between controls, and you have to stop at the controls anyway. When you stop at the controls, the very first thing you should do, that's the first thing on your mind is, I got to get to the control to get my my stamp, and then you do other things, right? So that's the first thing on your mind. So anyway, you go through and everything is going to be with barriers, volunteers pointing you this way, that way, park your bike here, there's the control. Might be a language barrier, but all the other words in between are basically just telling you this way to the control. So you hear control, okay, and you hear bike, park over here, and they're saying other things, and you know, bonjour, bonsoir, and you just keep going in the direction that they're pointing you. And then the control is typically near either the cafeteria or a rapide other line where you just grab a sandwich and something quick, and off you go. Now, because you have to stop at the controls anyway, it's something I advise, but you have to use your judgment there, because if you are like I was, sorry, I hit the mics. If you're in the 90-hour group like I was, there was a large volume of riders at each one of the controls when we pulled in. We weren't racing it for a time, so that didn't upset us too much, but just know you're going to queue here to get your stamp, and then you're going to queue over here to get food. The food, some people were like, oh, yes, you're paying for it, but hey, it's on the course, and you had to pull into the control anyway. A lot of the food wasn't great, but you know, you're in an event. You're not there whining and dining. You know, you can do a different type of thing. You can go do a week-long tour with, you know, Trek Travel or any of these other organizations where you have 10 of you, and you know, you have less quantity of food, so the quality is better. But anyway, I was able to find a carb source, so whether it was rice or pasta, I was able to find a protein source, so either chicken or fish. And there was also hard-boiled eggs over here, and there was yogurt over there, so you could get your protein sources. There was usually soft drinks, so Cokes and Oranginas and other things like that. Water, of course, coffee. So, in my opinion, that's basically the best option for you. Plenty of food choices. You actually have a table to sit at, and you have time to sit and eat, depending on your schedule, right? Now, some folks have talked about cost. I honestly don't remember. It didn't matter. You're also on a vacation. Just enjoy it. Whatever the cost is, okay, yep, okay, how much? Boom, Apple Pay, move on, right? Now, that's one thing I want to cover. I was worried about having cash all the time, cash and coins, but honestly, I don't remember. I think the only control was the last one, Drew, which was like 40-ish kilometers from the finish. I think that's the only one that did not accept credit cards. Apple Pay in particular, right? So I didn't even have to carry my credit card with me. I just had my phone anyway. Boom, boom, boom. So if you're watching this and you're getting ready to do 2027, I would imagine all of the controls will accept your credit card, Apple Pay, and the like. Okay, so as I said, the cost, I don't remember. I could look through my statement, but I don't know, 10 to 15 euro per meal, I guess. Anyway, some folks have said to have at least 150 upwards of 300 euro with you on hand. I do strongly recommend that you do carry some coins because item number 5 is something you might just want to have handy. All right, so number 2, the villages. You ride through, I think someone said 174 villages. Some of them, in a blink of an eye, you're in and out of it. Some of them, at 3 a.m., nothing is open. But what I did see a lot were, I saw signage that would say, blah, 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 tavern, or blah, 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 boulangerie is open 24 hours. And the town is there to welcome you, and that particular proprietor is open 24 hours. So you may find that as well, so that you don't have to stop at a control and line up for everything. You may just grab something in that village, go to the control, get your stamp, and head back out, right? So that's one way to save time. A lot of villages, they were all boarded up. There was nothing going on there. So be aware of that. There are some places you go and there's like a huge courtyard, and there'll be a traffic circle, and you'll see all of your rando buddies all sitting in a cafe getting something to eat. While that looks like a good idea, maybe you may have to wait for food. A lot of these places were running out of stuff. I heard from other folks anyway. But it's also a very good environment, very welcoming environment, because they know we're coming through their town, and they want our business, and we gladly will give it to them. So that's villages. Number 3, packing your own. Now, I'll do a shameless plug here in a minute, but I wanted to bring a lot of my own nutrition for several reasons. The first is I knew that it would work. So no matter where I was on the course, if I had my own nutrition, I could get through to the next control or several controls. I know what my body can tolerate. I'm pretty good about eating anything, but why not, if I could carry my own product, then I would have it. So Eric Norris and his, I think there were 3 or 4 of them, not sure, they provided a bag drop service. In other words, they met you at Rambouillet the day before the event. You dropped off a bag. They asked that you didn't put in, 5 cases of liquid in there, but I had powder. I had change of kit. I had a spare tire. I had spare tubes. All the stuff that you think you might need. I didn't use any of it, by the way. No mechanicals, no flats, no cut tires. I didn't need tubes. I didn't need any of that stuff. I had a spare battery pack in there as well. Didn't need it. But I had a lot of my own powder there, and an electrolyte drink that I am testing to also provide as a product, private label. That worked very, very well for me. I had a hydration pack, so it's a 2-liter hydration pack, which is equivalent to about 2.5 tall bottles. If you just kind of do the math, converting 2 liters to ounces. I would put in my hydration pack 1,000 calories of my drink mix, right? Now, this is just carbs. There's nothing, no electrolytes, no protein, no fat, no amino acids, no vitamins, no minerals, nothing. This is just a carb source, and it is super, super, super easy to digest. So, and also mix well, because I have a funny story about that. So Lori's hydration pack, I believe she put the powder in first, then the water. The powder got stuck in the line. So one of the controls that we stopped at, we were trying to clean it out. I was trying to run water through it and trying to break it up, and it was just packed in there tight. So pro tip of the day, put your water in first, then put your hydration mix in, things you don't even think about until it happens, right? So I had 1,000 calories in my hydration pack. Oh, and another thing. So when, because Lori's hydration pack was basically useless, I then had to give her one of my bottles and then, carry her toolkit on my bike. So I was carrying 2 toolkits and 1 bottle hydration pack, and then she had 2 bottles on her bike now. Now, the other thing is, I never really used this other bottle that was on my bike. I should have just emptied it. I kept thinking, oh, I may need it. I was carrying this thing around all around France until eventually I'm like, okay, because on the outbound you get to see everything. So on the return, all right, okay, this is when we're going to see control. So then I just basically left it empty after that. So you can pack your own stuff. Now the control that that the drop bag service was available to you was at Ludiac. So that's 400 kilometers in. Then you go out and back another 400 kilometers. And then from there to the finish is 400 kilometers. So it's a very strategic place to have a bag drop service. And that's kind of how I divvied up my stuff. I said, okay, I need enough of my own nutrition to get to 400K, 250-ish miles, make the round trip, come back to Ludiac, stock up again, and then that will take me through to the finish. Another 400K, another 250 miles. You decide how you want to do that. I think the bag drop service is very reasonable. It was just $75. Remember, you're on vacation too, right? So there's no point in being a penny pincher and frugal. Just have the time of your life. Have a great experience. So I paid for the bag drop service, and I had, like I said, clean kit, clean clothing, more nutrition and all that stuff. Okay? So that's number 3. Number 4 is private SAG. Now, it depends what your goal is when you go to PBP. In my opinion, PBP, now that I've done it, prior to I had a different opinion, but now that I've done it, I'm not so sure that I want private SAG. I like the experience of not counting on someone being there 60-ish miles or 90-ish K down the road. I don't know. Maybe I'll change my mind in 3 or 4 years, and maybe I'll want to go for a faster time. And that's the way to do it, right? They're there with all your stuff in their car, van, RV, so you can sleep comfortably as well. Every time that I slept for the night, there was always somebody snoring. I just can't believe how many people snore and how loudly they snore. Anyway, so private SAG. So if you're going for a fast time, that's the way to do it. If you just want the convenience and you have a family member, loved one that will do it for you, remember, this is going to be a 3-ish day affair for them. So, thank them profusely over and over and over again for being there to volunteer for you to do this, for you to ride your bike and for them to, be up all hours of the night sometimes, right? Okay, so that's number 4, that's private SAG. And number 5, the people on the road. This is an amazing type of event because there is so much support emotionally. I remember one time my tire felt low. I come around this corner, there's a guy with a floor pump. And I'm like, okay, well, he's airing up someone else's tire. I took a nature break. By the time he was done with that, aired up my tire, and we were off. I mean, and it was kind of like on the outskirts of town. We were leaving the town, and there was this gentleman who was pumping up tires for people. So that's not food, but just to give you the idea that people are there to support you. They want you to succeed. They want you to finish the event. But when it comes to food, and this I didn't take enough advantage of, and I'm remiss that I didn't, because it's just another opportunity to interact with the locals. There were tables set up. One of the ones that we stopped at, small bowl of pasta. They either had some marinara sauce, or you could go without. If you have stomach acids with tomato paste, tomato sauces, you may want to skip that. And dropped a couple of euro in their donation bin, coffee can kind of thing, and off we went, right? So on the course, you just stepped a couple of feet off of the course, ate your food, got back on the course, and off you went. So, that's a meal that I didn't have to pull into a control to get, which, as we know, that's a time suck. It is almost impossible to get out of a control for in under 30 minutes. By the time you get your card stamped, go to the restroom, refill your bottles, and grab something to eat. You could probably do it if you miss out that fourth one, getting something to eat. So people on the course, all hours of the day, all hours of the night. Now here's another thing. Some of these towns put up a feed stop. So it's not just some private individual with their children, or little old lady, or an older couple that put up a table and some stuff, or some people waving water bottles as you're coming by. No, also in some of these towns, here's a money-making opportunity for that village, like a bake sale, right? You pull in, and it's very small, and it's not part of the event. It's not part of the organizers' stops. And we stopped at one. It was right at like the church grounds, and we stopped there. We had coffee. I think we had a couple of croissants, I believe. A lot of it blends in. I apologize. But, and then there was a restroom there, and clean because, there weren't thousands of people going through it. And they also had, I think, some soups or something, if you wanted a little bit more heartier of a meal. But it was just, so there's those opportunities as well, which I didn't hear in Eric's video, so I want to add that. Maybe that's number 6. The actual towns have a small, and you'll see it. I mean, it's all lit up, and it's sometimes very strategic. It's at a corner, and you got to go by there anyway, so you're not off the course at all. And you'll see, another 15 to 20 riders stop there. Now, that's something I wish I would have taken more advantage of, because again, smaller quantities means much higher quality of the food available to you. So those are, let's call it 5 and a bonus, 5-6 ways to get food at PVP. It was a concern of mine initially. I watched a few videos. People said, don't worry about it. And then once I did the event, I realized, oh God, there's just food everywhere. There's water everywhere. I didn't have any problems drinking the French water. So, it was just, they had like a watering station. So you'd have like 4, 5, 6 different spigots, and everyone's just lining up and just grabbing the water. And it was just, public utility water, I'm sure. And never had any problems. So your mileage may vary, but I think you'll be okay just drinking the water. If you don't feel comfortable with that, you can buy bottled water. I remember just before the start, I needed to fill my bottles, and there was a little shop right next to the Rambouillet train station, and I think I paid 80 euros. I'm sorry, well, 80, I don't know what they call it, cents, for a liter and a half of water. I came back to the States. Well, actually, I was in the airport and I was paying like 3 something for that. So, like 4 times the price. But anyway, that's all for today. Please like and subscribe. If you're interested in my nutrition product and how to use it, I know quite a few have already purchased it, and I thank you and I appreciate your business. I've got another huge order coming, so if you're interested in this nutrition product, please let me know, and I'll walk you through how to use it. But that's all for today. I really do appreciate everyone who's watched my videos thus far, and this is only video number 3. We've got a few more still to come. I need to do the bike, I need to do the route, I need to do all that kind of stuff. I'm not only doing a debrief for 2023, but I'm hoping that for 2027, folks search and click onto these videos and get some knowledge so that they are prepared when they go to do their wonderful adventure at BREST Paris. Okay, thank you so much. Please like and subscribe. Please share my videos with other folks. Hit that notification bell. In the meantime, we'll see you up the road.